All right, how are you guys doing in OMG land? I think we are live broadcast and everything looks good. Signal looks good. I got to hit the restroom real quick and kind of get a couple things together here for the webinar. We're going to start in a few minutes. Just want to let you know I'm here. Everything's good. People are commenting they were seeing last week's embed still. So if anybody notices a comment like that, just let people know to refresh their browser. Everything should be good. I'm seeing the feed for today. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes and we'll get going. Load your questions up. But if you've got a website or project that you'd like to take a look at a little more in detail than we have over the previous few months, you know, either drop me a message or put it in the thread. It might as well go in the thread because it's going to be shared publicly on the webinar today. So yeah, if you don't mind kind of showing off what you got, then drop that link. I've noticed a couple. Looks like something came through from Robbie and Scott and maybe a few others already. So I'll see what I can do today to get through as much of that as I can, and then we'll launch into things. So glad to have you on. Okay, here we are, back and at it. First off, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It's a pretty amazing experience to have kids. I'm drooling all over myself just thinking about it. Yeah, it's really changed my life in the last 4 or 5 years now to get to play that role and also reflect a lot more on my dad and the things I learned from him growing up that I a lot of times didn't even realize I'd learned and thought were not appropriate and would never be important. And it turns out a lot of it is. So hence the email. I think a lot of people on today are on my email notifications list. I made a quick post and video about the session today in Facebook, but it's easier to write sometimes on email. So I put a little bit more about kind of the story and the framing and the things that have been on my mind, especially today, but just over the last, I don't know, a few days at least, maybe a week or two. And kind of the journey looked at as clearly as I can that has transformed my life in the last, 4 or 5 years since I got into online marketing. And really, there were a few things and a few models that I've learned that have allowed that to happen. But then once it was going, I realized that most of the answers to fix things or smooth things out or look for opportunities or really just feel like I belonged on the internet making money were things I learned a long time ago, and not from people that were contemporary with people that are, online business people, my grandparents, my uncle, my dad. And I'll probably sprinkle more and more of that into our sessions during this next segment of the year when we can kind of go into these sites a lot more, because for the new people that joined in 2017, and I say new, you could have been doing online marketing for a very long time, but we don't have to focus as much on the, oh, hey, what's the anchor text or what button do I push, right? You've kind of got some experience, hopefully. You've built some sites, you've got some things going, you built some links. And so it's not as much about kind of the technical details as much as it is about, well, how much of this do I need? Or how do I approach this opportunity, client opportunity, website, how can I make money or monetize this traffic? And one of the things I don't do directly is monetize all traffic. A lot of the traffic and the rankings that I utilize are for context to make my PBN sites, or whatever you would like to call them, more relevant, more important. When I go to work every day, I'd like to know that if nothing else, I left the internet a little better place. I like to add some value. I don't go to the internet to know how I can make money and come home every day. But I do. I mean, that's a thought, it's a question. But the primary question that I like to be able to answer at the end of the day is if I contributed something, if I made a site better, if I made an article better, if I clarified the way a topic or an offer was communicated. And the days when I can say yes about that, I sleep good, regardless of whether or not we made sales or signed up a new client. And some of the days where it doesn't really feel like I did anything good aren't quite as fulfilling. So there's my little monologue to start things off. Let me go ahead and get a screen share here for, where's my cursor? The desktop, so that other people can see what I'm looking at, which, okay, we need to, this is weird. Operating system updated. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. Let me go ahead and share this first though. Okay, so you guys can now see 3 windows that I've got opened up for the Facebook pages. Well, may or may not know, last week we had some technical difficulties, which is, kind of the rule more than the exception, especially if you're working with computers and technology that a lot of times is just not even in your hands. I had updates to the, I guess the router in the building or something like that. And it just, kind of hamstrung me for the entire day of Sunday. Regardless, one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about with the kind of updating your software and hardware and cleaning up your computer memory and all that kind of thing is that it makes your computer run better. And that may not ever really seem like the most important thing that you should do with the next half hour of your workday. But that's the thing, that because it never looks like the most important thing you could do, It never gets done. It's never at the top of your priority list. And over time, the crap that leads to, the slowdown it leads to, it kind of goes unnoticed because it's incremental, and it winds up putting you in a situation that it's so much harder to do your work than you realize. And those types of things I've come to just schedule in life, right? Especially with computers, it's very appropriate. Nobody has to really reach too far with understanding what I'm talking about here, right? It's just one of those deals that you want to do on a regular basis, whether it seems like you need to or not. It didn't really seem like I needed to do that with my computer. I later learned that the problem was with the router in the building, or the modem in the building, or whatever the hell it was. But it turns out that there was a whole bunch of stuff on my computer that was bogging it down, and I didn't even notice it. So, there's another thing that I may talk about today. I want to get into a couple questions, but it really, 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 really affects your ability to work online. And it never seems like the most important thing to do. But, here in the last few months of my kind of life and career, I've addressed it more directly, and it's really helped open some things up. So I'll talk about that later. There's a little, teaser to keep people on through the session, but let me go say hey to everybody and see what we want to dive into with questions here. So I noticed a few questions come here. OMG way, no. Yeah, let me see. So Kenneth came through. Message for Kenneth out there. Yeah, we run these chat sessions for anybody who's watching the video and maybe in the wrong group to post. All of my Q&A sessions for OMG are held behind kind of the paywall, so to speak. You've got to be a member of our private Facebook groups, not the OMG way, but the OMG 2017 Assimilation or NHB groups, to participate Q&A wise with the broadcasts that I do. I do other webinars and videos, and you'll probably start to see more and more of those. Just because you see a webinar or something running on like Joshua Fletcher or Search Explosion, it may not necessarily be connected with OMG. Still welcome you to come on. If you've got access to it, jump in. No big deal at all. Like I'd love to have you, and I'm kind of answering questions in a different capacity on some of those things. But just to clarify any confusion that might come up if people start to see that sort of thing moving forward. Okay, so HB group, we got George on. Maybe you scroll down to see the 618 session on the call. My dad's watching. Oh, from on high, Jody. Yeah. Well, still part of the mix, right? Best to you on Father's Day from George. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely, Jody. Yeah, good to have you on. Thanks for being on today. Iggy, words from the wise. Educated. Cost a lot to get this educated, sometimes with knocks and sometimes with money. But trying to understand it and help other people out with what I know. Devin, man, even if it is the worst day of your life, you've got something to be grateful for. I agree. That the rest of your life is going to be better. Malcolm, good to see you on. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Yo, Fletch. I won't make the live show today. Oh, but we'll be watching later. Right on, Malcolm. Megan, ready for the webinar? Still show. Oh, yeah, that was from a little bit earlier. That was me. Make sure Megan's got updated. Yeah, cool, Megan. Good to have you on. Prasanna, happy Father's Day to Fletch and all. Here's my agency website. Right. Okay, cool. Rise Oak. We'll go take a look at Prasanna's agency website and see what we need to figure out or diagnose or dig into a little bit more. Hopefully open up background for the site. We've got a little bit more there to dig into. I'll go ahead and read that because it'll help kind of set the stage for stuff. Let me go ahead and increase the font size a little bit. I need to figure out what to do to turn those notifications off when we're live. Makes it a little bit of a hassle. Okay, background for this site. Already had an agency that does web and mobile apps. Now rebranded the agency to Rise Oak with SEO as the main offering. Ranks number 2 for Columbia SEO Agency. We're in Columbia, Maryland, and is in the map pack. All right, cool. On the last office hours, I think you mentioned using Google Docs to create links. How do you do this? Also, I think you mentioned using URL shorteners in the context of creating links. Can you provide more info on this? Yeah, I'll talk about a little bit, Prasanna. That's I don't mind sharing things like that. It won't be a comprehensive training on it, but sometimes just knowing that you can look certain places lets people start to put the picture together themselves. And then I'm adding a page to my agency site to provide website audits. This page will have a few sentences of text and the form field to enter the URL for the site audit. When I create a web page like this for my site, should I make it no index, no follow? I do not see any harm if the page gets ranked in Google, but not sure if this page will have a bad effect on other pages on the site. Okay, great. I can answer that one kind of directly, and since we're going to dive into the site, it might help. I would make a page like that if you've created the text and the form yourself, which means they're unique and they're not the exact same form as is out there all over the internet. I would go ahead and make that a follow index page. So I agree with you. I think that a page ranking like that is going to be helpful. No reason not to do it on your website for a term like SEO audit or analyze a website for SEO, even something long-term like or long tail like that. And it won't hurt your site at all, because if you've got something contextually relevant on that page, whether it's URL, any of the UMAC factors that are contextually relevant, it will help your site be more relevant for terms like that. Okay. Joseph, hey, fine peoples, happy Father's Day to all the dads. Incredible thing, Fletcher. How about, or how much are dads, granddads, and moms? Yeah. Words or wisdom come into play as we mature. Finally made it onto office hours. Right on, Bryce. Good to have you. And we got Kenneth over from the OMG way. Glad to have you here. Joseph, change your oil, keep the tools clean. Irene, hello, Bryce. Happy Father's Day to every dad out there. And Irene, happy Father's Day, Fletch. How would you approach a general blogging site? And I'll get to this answer. I'm going to read the questions and then kind of set the stage a little bit and circle back around, Irene. Okay. How would you approach a general blogging site which wants to build brand awareness and grow for SEO and looking at keywords for growing the site profile and ranking? I think that it would want to monetize the site. I have such a crazy long list of keywords it wants to rank for from the site owner, which is too general, and I'm a bit confused. What should I do? Okay, cool. Let me go through 2017 on the far right here and see who we have on, and if there's anything I can answer fairly directly, I will. Robbie, his videos dramatically increased my computer and internet speed, took like 30 minutes. Do the whole channel. All right, cool. So we've got some tutorial videos, it looks like, on improving computer performance. Love it. Thank you. And they're on YouTube, which almost all the knowledge on the world is, except for dirt under the fingernails, so to speak. Scott, good to have you on again as well. Carolyn, happy Father's Day. Uncles, dads, grandpas, all that kind of thing. Scott, happy Father's Day. Hope you have a good one. Have a new client site that went live. DC Air and Heat. DC AC Air and Heat. Okay. I may have read that right. I may not have. It may be DCAC. I'm not sure. Air and Heat, I think I got right, though. Can you review it and provide any feedback? Sure thing, Scott. That's, I think, site number 3 or big question number 3 we want to go into. Tarek here. Yay. Is Elizabeth Engen going to be a case study tonight? Oh, maybe. We may look at some of the structured data stuff that we have, if it's regarding that. Otherwise, yeah, who knows? Steve, don't know if you saw my post earlier, but was wanting to know the workaround to doing lead gen when they have their local number on the side of their van and me wanting to use Call Tracking Pro. Okay, I posted a video earlier and can post it here if you want to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, and the thread's most helpful, Steve. When I get going on these, I've got, you know, several threads. You can probably imagine personal messages, and even, you know, some people sending emails, and I'm trying to keep everything in front of me so I can address it. Even if, you know, if you can send messages in, that's great. I love to be able to kind of think about it and work on it, but I also like to provide as much value for people on live. So I typically start trying to answer questions for people that can be live on the sessions, and then work to the stuff that gets messaged or is in other threads. A good question though, and one that I probably, yeah, we can probably figure out some solutions for. Bill, Fletch, can site speed test be run on a local server press site? Quick answer, no. I'm sure it could in some roundabout way, but those sites are not live to the internet at general. After a local server press site is uploaded and made live, do all the URLs get converted automatically, and do any settings need to be tweaked, such as settings for gravity forms? Should not need to, as long as you're using so server press is just a way for you to build a website local on your machine. It does have some utilities to move a site live on the internet, but there are other utilities as well, other plugins. I typically use Updraft Plus with the Migrator add-on. I think it's a premium feature. That's what I use to back my sites up and to move them or migrate them when I'm going to do work on them and update, you know, themes or content like radically. So it depends on what utility you use, what procedure you use to move that site live, as to what you may need to tweak. Typically, Updraft Plus with the Migrator feature works really well for everything that's a WordPress function and is a pretty easy to find link in the text. Like if you've got an outbound link going someplace else on your site that's in the text of a page, usually Updraft will find that as well and replace it. But sometimes you've still got to go through and run Screaming Frog is the utility I love to use after the fact, and just make sure there are no broken links. That's the biggest thing I check for after I migrate a site live or from development over to the live site where the name servers are pointing. I just check for broken links. That's the biggest thing to check for. Scott, next week I plan to move a lot of numbers from Troyer's ACT to the platform, so happy to be a part of the beta. Oh, right on, Scott. Glad to hear that, my friend. Shelly, happy Father's Day, everyone. Kanitra, Father's Day wishes as well. Scott, people keep wishing me happy Father's Day, but I do not know of any kids that no one has, and no one's knocked on my door for 20 years. You're probably in good shape then with that, Scott. You don't have to worry about cleaning noses and all that sort of thing that comes with it. From Aaron here, my site's been bouncing around 12 or 15 to 25 when I search for my brand name. It's close to number one. Then I started doing PBN links to wrappers. That won't get back on page one. I would check on the health of those PBNs, Aaron. If you're you potentially grabbed a link from a site that was penalized. I've seen sites react that way. In all likelihood, it would come back even with a brand name like that. But if your brand name knocks down that far and you say, you know, won't come back, you know, if it's been 2-3 weeks, I would go check on the health of those network sites or the links that you have coming in. And then also, if you've got Webmaster Tools installed, just see what other links it knows about, because it should show up your PBN links or network, you know, wherever you're getting the links, it should show you where they're coming from. So I'd check that out. Check earlier messages, please. I see you everywhere. Yeah, right on, Scott. Not sure what that. Check earlier messages, please. Yeah, maybe a personal message you sent me, Scott. I will. I'll jump in there, see what's going on. Justin, Bridget, Matthew, perspective. Oh yeah, maybe that was regarding what I was talking about. Right on. Trek You the Man. You got to read those. Like, you know, I'm awesome. I'm cool. Got great hair. Random things like that. Hannah, hey, good morning to you all. Question, what plugins do you use to optimize your sites? I know images are a big thing, but what else do you use to speed up your sites? Okay, so optimize regarding site speed. Having difficulty speeding up a number of sites. You also previously mentioned to try to not use PNGs on sites. What do you use instead of PNG? JPG. JPG is a compressed format. A JPEG is. I use PNGs only when the software technology requires a PNG or if I need a transparent background. Anything else, and even then you can use something called an SVG, a vector graphic, and usually have a better result than a PNG because it won't be pixelated regardless of your scale. Shelly, could you please discuss the advantages of not of buying domains from Namezillow versus Namecheap versus, I like the privacy protection from Namezillow, but I'm unsure how to best manage all the domains that I'm going to have to, well, where'd we go? All the domains that I'm going to be creating. How does registry differ from hosting? So confused. Okay, get a little bit more into that. Alan, good to see you on Scott and local lead gen sites. How important is use original content versus dupe? Okay, we can talk about that. The duplicate content issues kind of misunderstood. Steve, the video is referring to was this. All right, we'll hit play. Just hit play on this and see if it plays. It may. Ooh, yeah. Some dancing.
Hey, my name is Ross Johnson, on behalf of Southern Rust. We're a mobile detail business out of Anderson, South Carolina. I'm here at Barefoot Farms in Belton. I just took care of 2 vehicles out here. And here's the number on the van. Give us a call anytime. We take care of Anderson, Williamson, Seneca, Pendleton, just surrounding areas in the upstate. If you would give us a call, we'll take care of your vehicle. Thank you.
All right, cool. That was fun. I like the music too. All right, we'll talk about that with the phone number that already has digital marketing associated with it and trying to do lead gen in a situation like this. Okay, so let's head back, see what we got going on. Oh, question from Quentin too. Been losing traffic since November, pretty much across on my affiliate sites, really starting to wear on me. Tried to add more content, but had no effect. This month I decided to might be a lack of RSOS. Any way to hone in on what area of SEO might be most lacking? Dogs by Nina. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that, Quentin. That'd be cool. All right, yeah, and that'll give us a chance to look at an affiliate site and an agency site and a lead gen site, and then a couple questions. So that'll probably load up a lot of our time. Okay, cool. All right, where did we start? All right, Prasanna here. What was the actual question we were going to dig into? Google to, okay, so we had a couple supplementary questions from Prasanna about some other kind of SEO strategies, links and stuff. Adding a page to my agency site to provide website audits. All right, well, let's just open this puppy up and see what it looks like. Okay, homepage, grow your business by 10x. Pretty clear, major headline for what your kind of promise, your offer is. Get a steady stream of customers already looking for your product or service. Yeah, I like it. I don't know, I might clarify the wording on that. I don't like being extra wordy in that subheadline, but as I kind of read it aloud, get a steady stream of customers already looking for your website. Maybe get in front of, because you're talking about positioning. You don't want to kind of delve into it, not like you're really talking about it directly, but I think it could be maybe misconstrued as a traffic promise. And I tend not to do that. Maybe you do, and that would be fine, but I would maybe just look at the wording, just a general comment on the subheadline there because I didn't see a direct question about the site, but we'll kind of go through. All right, we got scroll business growth, use SEO to drive. So we've got kind of some bullet points, build mobile and web apps. All right, so kind of a couple additional pieces of information as far as services offered. Why work with us, more customers, best ROI, dominate competition online. Okay, business partner, free contracts, great communication. Okay, it's good. Some social proof. I like this a lot. Having some social proof worked in. Halfway down the page, another testimonial, long form testimonial. Oh, scrolling. Okay, like that. I like motion. If you can get that integrated on your homepage as well. We've got our content down here. Doesn't read too much, too blocky. I might add a little bit of formatting to some of this persona, maybe just to kind of dress it up a little bit. I like the font, or the is it font? Yeah, font size. The font size changes, and we've got some anchor mixed in, maybe even some line weight. But I'd integrate some bold and some metallic, maybe even a couple colors. Outbound links to authority sites, very relevant authority sites as well. Really like that. Embedded video. Okay, homepage looks solid. We've got footer links to a couple specific locations we want to rank for with Columbia and Baltimore. I utilize that as well. And a lot of people do, not just about me, but okay, and we've got a header link, navigation link to these pages. Okay, pretty much same kind of content. This may be, looks like pretty much the identical article with a different embed on it. Let me come back and check out that video a little bit. Then we'll kind of, if you've got a specific question about crawling, how it pulls up through something like Screaming Frog, would be happy to run that for you as well, press on and let you know what I see. But then I also could pull up backlink profile and see what we've got going on there. Okay, this is way, I don't, with the other page like this. This is Baltimore. Columbia, is it right there? Okay, we got a different format for Baltimore. It may just be that you're still working on it, but if you do get some traffic here, this just needs to be bumped down, or there needs to be kind of a visual break between your background header image there and your content just starting visually, just visually. Okay, cool. Let's see, next two. And snap pack. Okay, 2 for Columbia SEO agency. All right. So if we're looking at Columbia, let's see what we've got here. So, I changed and started using Chrome for a lot of this. Come on. All right, so looking at a inner page here that has 13 or 33, I'm sorry, backlinks. We can see kind of when these links started getting picked up. Looks like the beginning of May, middle of May. We're starting to get some decent link velocity. Pretty rise uptake though. What be great to not see here, if it plateaus, it's like, yeah, okay. But you don't want it to kind of drop after this initial build here, persona. So I continue to build some links on something like this and smooth this out a little bit. Okay, so this looks like just about 4 links first half of May that got picked up. Doesn't mean that's necessarily when you built them. It's just when they got crawled by Ahrefs. Let's take a look at the backlinks here. See what we have. Chamber of Commerce, a couple different links there, 3 different. Howard, Maryland COC subdomain. So you got a subdomain link that's relevant to the Chamber of Commerce there. So standard blog. And then Southwest News for you. All right, cool. Let's pull this up, see what it looks like. All right, so kind of a profile link. Let's go to the site. Yep, good. Profile type link, yeah, okay. Right on, things look pretty good here. I'm gonna go ahead and look at the homepage. So we have coming here. I didn't see anything that's jumping out at me as like what I would necessarily change at the moment. Oh, Israel. Oh, right on. Access experience English groups. Said I don't know if you. Okay. All right. I have to take a look at what Israel wrote later. Okay, so let's check this out. We've got about 50 here, so another few links as far as power goes. Let's look at the anchor text coming into the home page. See what we can get. No, don't learn more. Good. All right, so we've got an interpage link, anchor text, pointing to the. Oh, this is the whole domain. Okay, so I'm picking up all the links to the domain. Okay, so we've got an interpage. We've got a visit site, generic, no text, is fine. Customer magnetism. Okay, it's no big deal. Naked, your name. Yeah, things look good. I think you can probably, if you've got your PBNs blocked from Ahrefs picking, you know, getting their bot on them, I would assume if you're doing, you know, that well for a major metro area, like either, was it Columbia or Baltimore? Columbia may not be a major, but I would come at a site like this, if this is your anchor text breakdown, more aggressively. I would get search engine optimization, online marketing, search engine marketing, SEO, website SEO, ranking in Google, things like that, that are either directly related to the term you're trying to rank for or very, very closely related. In all likelihood, you have links like that coming in. We just can't pick them up with Ahrefs because of the, I mean, it's one of the reasons we have blocking technology in our sites. We don't like competitors monkeying around with where we're getting links from. But yeah, that's things look pretty good so far. So let me scoot this guy over here. I think we have, yeah, okay, cool. All right, see what we've got. Can click on about also. All right, I'll pull that up and see what we have for the about page. Also top. Yeah, so one of the things, this is just from a like UI, UX perspective. When I've started, when I do drop downs like this, the about, I'll actually push into one of these sub menu items. So in your dashboard, you can add a sub page link that's the same page, because some people don't know you can click on this. Now that doesn't really hurt you too much, except for if a person really wants to read about and they go over here and they're like, oh wait, my only options on about are these two. One of the things I've read, well, I've read a lot. I continue to read a lot. I've done 2 things over the last 6 months that really helped me understand behavior on the internet much better than I did previously. And they were, number 1, watching my wife use the internet, and number 2, watching my 12-year-old use the internet. They interact with things at a level very different than mine. And I don't want to say a lower level, because people who use the internet to buy things and to find information, that's really who we're trying to understand them. We're not saying, oh, you should do this. It doesn't work that way very well. I unfortunately have tried that way too much in my life, trying to say, well, you should be different. Let me help you. It doesn't work. So this is one of those clarity things, right? If something jumps out at you and sticks in your head because I'm spending, 15 or 20 extra seconds talking about it, do this, okay? Put your top level page in the dropdown itself, and WordPress lets you do that. So you'd have 3 items in your about dropdown, including the about. So, okay, cool. Okay, so we got a little bit of story. Got about the name. I like that. Some etymology of the company name. Yeah, oak is, there's a lot of really neat content around oaks. I was a park ranger for a while, and I ran hiking tours in an area that had oaks. And I used to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger, whose nickname was the Austrian oak because he was large and strong. So there's a little extra information for you if you want to use it. Maybe not. Anyway, where we located, beautiful city, Columbia, Maryland. Local government recognizes for contributing to local community. Rad. If you've got any kind of information about that, I'd link out to it here. Otherwise, it sounds like anybody could write that. But if you've got a link to the article or a little badge that you could have from the government or something there, from the guy, talk about the government, but you get what I'm saying. A little kind of cred linking out there would be great. Commitment, love what we do at Rise Oak. I know that one of the essential components of enjoying our work is knowing that we're making a significant contribution to our clients. Therefore, when we decide to work with you, we make sure to. It's a good fit. Provide you with clear expectations. Work very hard. Great. I think you could even, you could probably add a little to these bullet points if you wanted to talk about why you have to be selective. Why the clear expectations are so important. If you could talk about a little more why on there, if you wanted to. Didn't need to, though. It's a clean page. I like the design on it, so maybe I wouldn't mess it up too much. And then picture you with some background. I like the kind of heading managing partner too. Doesn't make you seem pretentious, but also kind of speaks to some experience in business. Yep, we got some bigger companies there. Cool. Looks good. All right. I guess you did not notice it because it was not prominent. Yeah. So I got a chance to kind of talk about it. One PBN, which is blocked. Only one PBN's done so far. Okay. So anchor text, then I would come in with some more online marketing related stuff for sure. I think you're in good shape. Looks like 50 links getting picked up. They were only from looked like maybe a handful, 6 or 8 domains. Let me pull that up over here. If you guys don't know if you're using, I know a lot of people are using OMG Command Center, but you want to look at referring domains, because even though backlinks said that there are, I think 49, was it 49? Oh, what do we get here? Oh, overview, sorry. Yeah, 49 coming in the domain. The more appropriate question is how many domains are linking in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 9. I guess I could just look and see 9 links, and then a PBN blocked. So yeah, I'd come in with some more money style anchor text on that persona. The name Rise Oak has an SEO. Oh, right. I didn't even notice that. So there's a embedded word, so to speak, SEO in the middle of Rise Oak. Can this lead to any over optimization? Shouldn't. Google's getting better and better at understanding word breaks, things like that. on last office hours. Okay, so that's a Google. So with Google Docs or shorteners or things like that. All right, let's pull this up. So Google, I'm just walking people through. I don't remember certain domains off the top of my head. Okay, so we're docs.google.com. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to use this as a here, do this, and you can rank. I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about. Some of that other stuff, it gets way too bogged down and too confusing if people assume too much about how to use this type of thing. And a live webinar like this isn't the right place to teach it. So if we were going to say, cite that, let's look for SEO agency. Okay, so good old Smart Street Media SEO agency, Google Sheets. Let's pull this up and see what we have. Okay, I think you guys might start, yeah, okay. So yeah, this is what they're linking to. So we can find out a bunch of stuff going on here. Oh, this is just a embedded image. Let me click out of this. Let me click on this link. You guys know how to use Google Sheets, right? Click on this link, see where we get taken. Okay, so we have a site hosted on Google, right? On their web domain, on a subdomain, sites.google.com, Street Smart Media, okay? And then we got a Google Map embed. And we have an SEO expert Los Angeles. That goes through a shortener to a website, which is here. Okay, so I just showed you guys about 4 different types of links, places you can get links that are sometimes even Google properties. Nice little kind of stack of links that you guys can take a look at. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, we're switching gears here. It's about taking things to the next level by understanding SEO. That's why I spent so much time talking about UMAC and these really boring generic topics and concepts, because once you know them, you can see why each and every one of those steps is relevantly important and powerful to rank and help a site rank for whatever term you're going after. Okay, that pretty much covered Google Docs and shorteners. So you can we could sit and talk about that stack by itself for probably 5 hours. Okay, adding a page to the agency site to provide website audits. Okay, cool. We talked about that. Great questions, Prasanna. Thanks for pulling that up. And yeah, biggest takeaway: go after it with some anchor text. Get some more links built in there. I noticed Cotton and Derek opened up a service for linking. Imagine a lot of people got in. I talked to Derek and Cotton both this last week a couple times. Sounds like a lot of people took advantage of that. It's yeah, good stuff. So I'm excited that that came about. Question from Irene here. How do you approach a general blogging site which wants to build brand awareness and grow for SEO and looking at keywords for growing the site's profile and ranking? I think it would want to monetize the site. They have such a crazy long list of keywords it wants to rank for from the owner, which is too general, but I am a bit confused. What should I do? Okay, so if it's a big site, Irene, and when I say big site, I mean it's not like a 7-page site or like a 30-page site, and they want to rank for 1,000 keywords. Probably not going to happen. Okay, sites that rank for a lot of keywords have a lot of content. If he wants to, or she wants to, or they want to rank for a lot of keywords, they're going to need a lot of content. So the first way I'd come at a problem like that is seeing if there is a content development strategy that makes sense. If they need more articles, if they need more syndicated content, if they need to get more editorials on their site, whatever it might be, right? Get the content right. That's the foundation. The other thing that comes, right, this is just UMAC, this is Greg's SEO, this is just talking about it in a specific instance, okay? So once that foundation's in place, once you get the site built, everything else is anchor text and relevancy of those links, right? How important the links are. So if they want to rank for a bunch of keywords, they probably need a lot of anchor text coming in. Now, you know, we approach things from a big reason why doing SEO with network sites is the best way to start and learn. And you don't ever need to grow out of that. Being somebody that's bigger, faster, and stronger, you don't always need to know how to, you know, master a backhand in tennis to beat 99% of the people on the planet. You might just be able to beat them because you're better, you know, more athletic. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying to mean you need to have other techniques, so to speak. But in the, you know, the Costa Rica examples with Joe and Greg talked about some other places you can get good links, get anchor text from them that don't eat up one of your URLs, one of your IPs, one of your domains. When I say eat up, meaning that you've already got a link coming from that site, and so going back and getting a second link is not going to make as much difference. You want to have links coming from diverse sites. So if the crazy long list is more than, you know, 1,500, okay, cool, anchor text. You know, I'm not going to talk about exactly how to go into buy big mass, you know, gigs from Conquer or Fiverr, right? But those types of tools and gigs and offers exist because it's a way to get really low quality links with anchor text coming into a property. That is not something I would shoot at your money site for sure. But it might be a way to give some contextual relevance to a Facebook page. But again, one of the things I kind of try to do is build, I know I just left that really, really gray, but what I try to do is to build the number of links to a website commensurately with the traffic on a website. If a site is not getting more than 10 people a day on it, I'm not going to go out there and try to build 30 links a day. Doesn't make sense. There's no natural, you know, air quotes right now, natural way a site getting that much traffic is going to get that many links. But entrepreneur.com, how many links do you think come into that domain in a given day based on the traffic, based on people who share an article, based on people who write some kind of editorial or comment, you know, commentary on an article, and they post it on their LinkedIn or they post it on their own blog, right? And they're doing some kind of, you know, curation from a bunch of different places on the internet. A site like Entrepreneur may get 1 million links a day. Like I have no idea about the scale, but it very well could. So Google has to acknowledge, oh, well, you know, how fast can you build links? Well, it depends. It really depends on how much traffic you're going to get. You know, Google almost has to look at things that way, because having a hard and fast rule like, oh, you know, if it's more than 10 links a day, you're going to have a problem. Well, that means that no viral content could ever rank. And that's just not the case either. So one of the ways I approach understanding what Google's doing is I learned enough about how the internet works, how pages load, what CSS is, how files get called externally, how iframes work. And I put that into the SEO 101, and kind of the UMAC concept of ranking grew out of that by understanding how things have to work. That goes back to how I grew up with people who have their hands on things. You can go look at a machine and see what's round, what's straight, what's hooked up with, you know, wires, and understand where the electricity goes, what turns, and what is used for, you know, pushing, pulling, or changing a setting on things by the way it's built, by the way it has to be, based on how it was designed and how it works. So, you know, people that have, it's kind of interesting that there are actually a lot of people in OMG that are doing extremely well that are not technology-based people. They're hands-on craftsmen and construction workers and mechanics and people that, you know, upgrade their cars and finish carpenters and things like that, because I think there's a way that you can approach doing things where you need to understand your tools and the material you're working with. And then once you have that, well, now it's art. Now it's just using those things in a way that works. So that's why I like to kind of shift gears here kind of mid-year and get away from what should I do into here are your tools. Let me continue to explain to you what these tools are for, because there are a million ways to rank a website. And the more I can help people see that, the higher the kind of quality and the more bang for the buck all these questions turn into. So, okay. Is it necessary to differentiate between money keywords and general keywords? Well, I think you probably want to use your money keywords from sites that are more important, because you can get a lot of power from a site that has a lot of, PA and DA, so to speak, and only have there be one link, and then blog comments and, bookmarks and all that kind of thing, all the other kind of links out there on the internet can be more generalized, and you still have a site that's about the money keyword because there's so much power behind it. And then the lower quality, lower value keywords, they can have some, money keyword type things sprinkled into them, but it doesn't shift the focus of the site or the way the site looks to Google in as much, right? So socials already have about 1,000 followers. Okay, yeah, so it's a good place, right? It's like a mid to small size local company, right? And it's kind of weird to say, but we've got air conditioning companies in Mesa, which is not the main city in Phoenix, that have like 900 people following on social media. So don't think 1,000 is a ton, because you can get that kind of thing from just having a well-run social media strategy as a local business. You can push. What I'm getting at is don't leave that as like a ceiling of like pretty good. Like it's okay, but it depends on the business, as to what the nature of the the followers and the click-throughs from social media and stuff is going to be. All right. Bryce looked at different Conquer gigs and saw that some that were recommended are no longer available. Any recommendations for PBN setup? And does Gregory's site also have auction domains, since I saw only expired? I don't know about Ortiz's stuff. Yeah, I just don't know. I can't really comment on whether he has auction domains or not. Any recommendation for PBN setups? I don't have any. Everybody I've used for that are either me or just somebody I trained, outside of OMG that does SEO for me. So, and we don't use gigs for that kind of thing. I'm sure there's some that work really well. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't know of any off the top of my head. And I don't like to recommend things that I haven't used personally, unless it comes from like, Cotton or, Greg or Joe or somebody. Stephen. Kenneth, have you noticed with Google that it displays the #1 ranking and skips to #6 and doesn't show 2 through 5? They do different things depending on the query and your IP and the nature of your search history and things like that. They may be doing that right now for you and not for somebody else. So every Google SERP does not look the same. They are a big market research company because they have such technology and they're so savvy with development. I say savvy, I mean, they utilize it as much as possible. They try out a lot of different SERP look and feels. They'll put a picture of the author in there and then they'll take it away, and then they'll have a 10 pack in the maps, and then they'll go down to 3, and then they'll put some advertisements in the maps and they'll take that away, and then they'll go back to 3, and then they'll have 1 or 2 organic rankings above the maps. And the way the SERP looks, I wouldn't focus on too much. because it'll always change. It's worth talking about. I mean, you can put, every time that you see a different type of SERP, you can put an article together on your website. It would be relevant to talk about, and people would find interest in it. They might even, you know, like and share and give you a link if you've written something up that makes sense that they want to focus on or feature on their blog. I mean, it's a great way to develop content. But as far as the importance for what it means to us for traffic and money, the not showing 2 through 5, what that might mean is that they assume 2 through 5 are now, they're going to have in the maps. So 2 through 5, 2 is really now position 6, but what shows up on page, you know, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are the top 3 most important map listings. And the 2nd most important website gets pushed all the way down to 6. So Rep Plus with migrator feature has worked excellent for me. Oh, migration and backups. Right on, Joseph. Yeah. Once you've got, it takes a little bit to set it up on each site, but once you've got it, I have it integrated with Dropbox. And so I have offsite backups. It does things, you know, pretty much daily for most of my important sites. So if I ever have a problem, I can go back and pull things up. Good to know that it works for you as well, Joseph. How's my PBN roughly $60 I spend? Better to use a Conquer gig for socials or do it all myself? I'm a big fan of, and don't see the drawbacks in practice and developing working knowledge of these activities yourself. And when I started, that's what I did. Cotton started, that's what he did. Greg started, that's what he did. You know, I know Greg and I for sure, I think Cotton as well, we still are opening up sites and building them all the time. Joe's got his hands in YouTube and on PBNs every day. He's looking at anchor text and doing these things himself. Now, does that mean we don't utilize scale and outsourcers and things like that? No. You know, I think each of us do in our own ways. But the reason that it's easier for us to start to sort that out and pick them out is because we've done it ourselves. And so we can either be very, very clear on what we need done when we're training someone, or if someone says that they know what they're doing, we can appropriately ask them. Like I made a post or a response in a thread to a post last week or 2 weeks ago or something, where people were asking about, like a job announcement for an SEO. And there have been 3 different people that came through the Search Explosion office that, you know, I worked with, you know, personally. None of them had any SEO experience at all. And within a year's time got manager director positions with corporations, where the person interviewing them had no clue what to really ask, because the hands-on knowledge they had far exceeded the business knowledge and what they looked at as like the business need to have somebody that could do this stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, so to speak, but also just a lot of practical experience that I have of being able to do the thing yourself and then getting somebody to do it. You don't need to be the best at it, but until you've built a link, it's really hard to know. You know, if somebody comes back and says, well, you want do follow or iframes or rel canonicals, or what you mean, link or an A tag? And you're just like, well, I just want to rank. Well, okay. It's hard to really get the right person to do that job unless you know the differences in those terms and how they relate to one another. So my recommendation is to get as many as you need built. And then I'd put some time into looking for somebody that has an announcement that they do the work, or just post an announcement yourself. If you post an announcement yourself, you're going to get hammered with people saying they can do it. We've done that a few times, and it takes a lot to sort through everything. Follow simulation, lights, instructions for social profiles and PBNs. Yeah, I don't know. You know, Cotton, his recommendations are usually pretty damn good. Meaning follow them. If he told you to do something, do it. If though there is a gig he recommends specifically, you might just would need to find a replacement for that gig. I built most of my PBNs myself when I started, though. Although for citations, I find it hard to do them manually. Yeah, citations are something. Go do your 10 for your brand, your main 10. Get your Facebook going. Get your Google channel set up once, and you'll realize how much of a stinking mess that is. And Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and things like that. After that, you can use Yext. Yext is good. They do fine. Manually because then lead me to Yext, which is expensive. Wants outsource citations. Yeah, you've got already did. I assume that means you've already built them yourself. So yeah, I don't know how long it takes to set up a PBN. I mean, I set up a site in maybe like 15 minutes. So if you've got your steps, you can get somebody in the Philippines trained to do that work for $2-3 probably. Somebody for $10 an hour will be able to do that if you have exactly what you need done. So if you've done it yourself, then you know what the steps are, right? So then record those steps, put it in a process doc, and then hire somebody out of the Philippines or India or Pakistan that has internet connection, doesn't need a strong working knowledge of English. You just send them your specs and they go do it. That's what I do, because then you don't have to worry about, all this other stuff that comes with somebody potentially getting too busy or raising the prices or all that kind of stuff that comes with gigs on Fiverr. I assume Conquer's very similar. Sometimes I have to wait for the previous owner to let go of the domain on GoDaddy. Oh yeah, well that just happens. GoDaddy runs auctions on sites that have not yet fully are not yet fully open for transfer. So if they are the registrar for a domain and the owner lets it go, meaning they don't renew it, then GoDaddy will usually, depending on what their settings are, they'll either give it a grace period of 4 weeks or 4 weeks, 4 days, 5 days, or they may just immediately offer it at auction. And then they run that auction before they go back and say, all right, hey, are you sure you don't want to renew this thing to the original or previous owner? So that's why that kind of happens sometimes. And with GoDaddy, it's easy because they run their own auctions and they're in, Register Compass. They pull up in, Command Center and all that kind of thing. So there's a few different ways to get at a GoDaddy auction for a domain. And that'll happen. It just does. It takes a while for that to clear. With ICANN, they have rules, and if you don't adhere to them, you get in trouble. That's the part that hangs me up. Other than that, I can set up persona hosting, WordPress, and socials. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's not, I don't think there's any real way around that, Bryce. So 14 days to get access to the domain. Yeah, that shouldn't be all the time. That should just be on certain ones. If you want to play the piano, play it. For me, understanding what Fletcher says is taking me to doing the work myself. Oh, hey, right on, Joseph. The thing for me that did too is it just added to my confidence in meetings. It was easier for me to be calm and composed, that I knew I could do the work and that I didn't have to, worry so much, that I was trusting someone that may not know to do work for me. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That sounds really appropriate. All right. So 2017, let's jump in here. Let's go with, okay, so we had Robbie's suggestions on cleaning up computer performance, DC air and heat. Let's pull that puppy up and see what we have from Scott here. Just kind of looking through things. Looks good, it's clean. I'd give your text up here, Scott, a little more room to breathe, so to speak. Your, subheads and your text are kind of close to itself. If I read through it, there's a lot of text to headline and picture. So you may not get a lot of people to read this. That might be what you want. You may be going for the phone call and the form fill. That's where my eye immediately goes. When I land here, DC, AC. Okay, so direct current air conditioning, or direct current, alternating current, air conditioning and heating, possibly. Right? It could be Washington, DC. Who knows? Right? I don't know. It's Orlando, so it's probably not Washington, DC. This is something else I do. Above the fold, Scott, I'd move some of your like elements like the BBB up there. That sort of reassurance sometimes will get somebody to just pick up the phone and call or fill out a form. Hanging it all the way at the bottom, it's what's done a lot, but we don't always follow the masses, right? So this looks very appropriate. We also don't want a site that just looks completely unique and people have a hard time understanding how to use it, right? We don't want that. So this is not me saying don't use templates and don't use the most downloaded theme on, Digital Forest or something like that. I definitely do that. I love that. But at the same time, I don't always adhere to convention regarding certain things like that, right? Overall, though, homepage looks strong. About us. I like the fact that you kind of featured it, before your services. I think that's good. Nothing wrong with that picture. You can see the face. It looks like it's, taken like non-professionally, which is, kind of cool. Brett Kruger here, 25 years of experience. It's like military with the Navy. Cool stuff, adding context and why, if you wanted to feature that more, I'm sure there are some people who are, people that have served military that might give them a call based on that. I've seen, repair vans running around that their most prominent headline is military owned. So, I know that that's a very strong category for people. You could probably feature that on the about page a little bit. I do like going with the experience on doing exactly what he's doing, but if he was, trained for mechanical work as an engineer in the military, that's, machinist. Yeah, he understands things like that. So like that. So services page. Okay, so it's a unique page, but there's not a lot of content featured here. So on this, I wouldn't suggest pushing it down to the sub like we talked about with Persona's website. Okay, so for me, Scott, one of the things that's kind of jumping out, and there's like so little wrong with it. Like I've built so many sites that look like almost, this looks like the theme and the page layout that I use, right? Several photos. This is new air conditioning installation, Orlando. Like everything is just, it's right, it's clean, right? So I'm here with air conditioning repair. You're probably going to get most of your conversion based off that. I don't think you need to do anything else with the way this looks. You're going to rank, content strong. I'm not seeing much in the way though, and it may be that your CSS. I don't see outbound links on these, Scott. Let me look and see if I can grab. Can't remember what the little icon is here. See, we get to move into some of these other tools that I use that we haven't talked about. Something called Link Clipper. It's just a plugin for browsers. Not that you need to use this one. This is just the first one, probably came up in search. What this does is it goes through and it looks at all the links on this page and it extracts them, puts them in a spreadsheet. So this is opening up Excel over here. Drag it over. What we can do is look to see where links go. Okay. So we got, I know this is small, but I'm not going to take the time to reformat it. Well, let me just, let's make this like visible at least. Okay, so you can kind of see this, right? So this is domain link, domain link, domain link, domain link, domain link. Got a telephone link, that's fine. Domain, 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 domain. And then one of the BBB. Okay, so there's an outbound link on every page, but it's not contextual. It's not in the content. I would definitely add outbound links on each of these pages, these service pages, Scott. And if service areas, let's check this out. Okay, I don't see any here. This is just like, again, just a straight SEO suggestion. Outbound links. I'm not seeing any here either. Okay. Yeah, get that in place. You can turn these into, tell links as well. So somebody clicks here. What if they came all the way down and they're like, oh yeah, this is the company because they said something here. Maybe this was the thing that finally got them tipped. Biggest reward, satisfaction. If they're on mobile, they want to click this, it needs to be a link. Okay. Because this is kind of a good opportunity to talk about too. There's no reason to put phone numbers in a site without having a link on them. Because some people will want to call that no matter whether they're on there. You can call out most browsers now, right? So turn this into a link and definitely turn in, you could do something with that. Articles read good though. Doesn't look like they're spun or anything like that. And if they are, they were gone back over. Pretty heavy, just scanning it. This is from an SEO kind of too, so I look at this stuff, but it looks pretty heavy in the content with air conditioning, AC, Oviedo. I don't know how that's pronounced, but you get the point. So living in Oviedo, you know that you need excellent working, reliable air conditioning, temperatures combined. And I like temperatures, high humidity. Those are great. Overwhelming for the hardiest person. This is when you have to be on the phone. Number handy for air conditioning repair. Okay, so let's look at this. So we got sentence 1. We've got Oviedo and air conditioning, right? Okay, sentence 2. Okay, no direct anchor text. That's fine. Sentence 3. Okay, we've got air conditioning repair, Oviedo. Okay. Sentence 4. We got air conditioning, heating, air conditioning again, repair, installation. Okay, so this first paragraph's 4 sentences, and 3 of the 4 have your main keywords in it. And if a person does read the content here, it just kind of is like, what is this? This looks kind of spammy, I don't think you're going to probably trigger any problems with a filter, like a logarithmic or algorithmic filter in Google, but it just, it's one of those things. We like to have it because as SEOs, it's what we look at keywords and relevance and all this stuff, but we look at it all day long, and when you go back over and you kind of read something like that, I don't know if I'd change it, but I would order it maybe a little differently or write it a little differently next time, probably. Let's see if Scott's helping out with some questions in there. Yeah, no. Okay. Again, this is also just kind of a help for all of us. When we're doing this, if I'm going through a site like Scott's here, so if Scott has more to offer, like if I ask a question as we're going through this or something, if we go up and just do this like reply, like, answers or comments for this site analysis here. Right. So if we can kind of do that as I work through these threads, then, I don't have to go, scroll down here and see. So Scott, go back up to that original. Can you talk about subdomains and if and how they help a client site? PBNs are worth keeping. I can look at that. Subdomains and if they can help a client site. Yeah, they could. Depends on the subdomain. I mean, a subdomain, I wouldn't look at that distinctly if you're, it's kind of like one of those things, if you're asking that question, I wouldn't really worry about them much more than another page. Okay, they are another page. They can help. They tend to have a little bit more weight than an inner page does for the URL string, if getting a keyword there, but it's not enough to try to build subdomains for everything. If you've got, like Google does with sites and docs and, webmaster tools and all that kind of thing, completely different services. You don't want navigation that's as easy between subdomains. That's when I'd use them. Subdomains are kind of, from a usability standpoint, more like that right now. There are 100 different advanced strategies you can use with subdomains, but almost all of them can be done with inner pages as well. So I wouldn't look at them that differently than inner pages, so to speak. Okay. Okay, as far as optimizing sites and site speed, I really don't do much of that personally, Hannah. I've looked at it. I do. I did mention, instead of PNG files, I use JPEGs. I've spent some time with Photoshop, not even close to a master. I can change the tint and, color profile on photos. And I primarily started using Photoshop to help with, file size and conventions like that. I had a, huge stock image that I downloaded from Deposit Photos, but I didn't want to upload a 14 megabyte JPEG to my site that's exactly the same as everybody else that is using it has. So you go in and you change your compression settings in Photoshop or any other image software utility, right? And you get a smaller file, and you get a file that's different than other ones out there on a pixel by pixel basis. And you change the color profile on it a little bit. You crop it a little differently. That's mostly what I do with those image softwares. Most sites I've seen have at the most two. This is most. I'm not saying every. 90% of the sites you come across, the only two problems are going to have with site speed, and I'm talking real site speed, is the size of images on the site and how fast the server pulls it up. Now, I'm not saying every time. There could be exceptions, of course. But if you just kind of get good at those two things, and not even good, like just good enough to do something, you're going to help the site load faster. Okay, so understand servers a little bit. Now, you don't need to go in and be able to, shell in and reboot, services and things like that. Like that, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the difference between a really low-level shared HostGator account and a higher end, dedicated server on, DigitalOcean or DreamHost or something like that, right? Those are just fundamentally faster. And then, compress your images pretty well. Only use PNGs when you need to, and look at SVGs if you're going that route with transparent backgrounds and scalable images. They're a really lightweight, high quality way to get vector art. Okay, cool. SVG, okay, cool. Inkscape's a decent SVG editor. Oh, right on, Justin. Cool. It's free. We like free, especially if it's good. Free's not always good. So free stuff in the dumpster right now. I wouldn't eat it. Shelly, could you please discuss the advantage or not of buying domains from Namezillow versus Namecheap versus any others? Yeah, well, kind of. Namesilo, not Zillow. I'm thinking of Godzilla. I guess. I've not used Name Silo. Namecheap, I have a ton of my domains with. It sounds like maybe Name Silo has a way to have kind of a master owner account and then sub owners, and they manage the ownership that way. Interesting idea. Might be worth looking into. Yeah. It could be kind of handy. I haven't used it though. Let me pull this up. So this is kind of, you know, just taking a little slower approach. And this is what I do too. This is, I guess, a look at how I spend part of my day when I'm trying to figure out services to use. Okay. Okay. Domains cheap, easy, and secure. Why us? Yeah, so it looks like this type of feature is something that is appealing. Domain link product completely free of charge. Domain link allows you to view all your domains in one place. Free parking, yeah, it's no big deal. Yeah, I don't know. Most of my sites are with Namecheap and GoDaddy and Bluehost and yeah, Enom, right? Namecheap's a reseller for Enom, so Enom's got most of my domains. So yeah, I mean, they could be kind of cool, Shelly. I don't know. I don't worry as much about that privacy thing right now as I, concerned myself with earlier for SEO. I'm not saying it's not important, but if you follow kind of what Greg's doing, you're in good shape. On local Legion sites, how important to use original content versus dupe, example city name pest control, and another city name pest control. So you don't need to, but you'll get more benefit if you have different content. Okay, so unique is better. Doesn't mean dupe is bad. In this case, on domain, on same domain, if you've got 2 or more pages with the same content, you're probably not going to get penalized, but you're not going to get any points. So you can build a bigger site, but a lot of those pages will have fairly generic content, right? Okay. I noticed here Jody posted a link on Cotton. So Cotton's got more OMG people coming to Cotton Grammar to look for source market gigs, which I'm laughing about. It's totally fine, of course, but he's good with that kind of thing. So look, follow what Cotton says and also follow what Cotton does. I'll put it that way. Yeah. So Steve had a question about doing lead gen with a company that already has sites online. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're going to enter into an agreement where you're helping him rank for his business name, you need to get paid for that. That's not a straight up lead gen deal, right? You're going to probably get a percentage of calls that come in or of deals closed, or you're going to work on a per month basis, or what, there's 100 different ways to make it work. It all works. It depends on the personalities and the offer, right? But you could also leave his information intact, build your own video, rank it with your own number on it. Build your own website, rank it with your own number on it. Put up your own billboard on a busy street with your own number on it. Get paid for that. So that's what I'm saying. So lead generation is not like a subset of SEO. It's a way more pervasive, comprehensive understanding of a major component of business, which is traffic. So lead generation takes the kind of highest most comprehensive approach to the traffic component, which is I'm going to get somebody to actually call you that wants your service, not people on your website, not top of Google, right? So because it includes more stuff, you have to do more, right? So you have to know some elements of conversion. You have to do your own keyword research. You have to do a lot of these things. If you're ranking someone, you don't necessarily have to do any of that. It's nice. So it's simpler to do those other things. And simpler is not always worse. Like you can get paid more for doing a simple job than doing a very complicated one that somebody else doesn't understand or value as much. So really the suggestion is do what people want. If you find somebody that wants phone calls, sell them phone calls. If you find somebody that sees a huge value in being number one on Google, sell them number one on Google. If you find somebody who thinks traffic on my site is the coolest thing ever and they geek out about their traffic from every social media post they made, sell them that, sell them on that, right? What we do can be sold a bunch of different ways. It's kind of the same stuff. It's Google traffic. It's organic search traffic, even from social media sometimes. But you don't always have to explain it or describe it the way you like to explain it and describe it. Unless you're influential enough to get them to see things your way, you're going to fight upstream to try to get those ideas planted in their head so they see things your way instead of they came to your site for some reason. And if you've got what they want and they're confident you can give it to them and it's a price that they can justify, that's when you get a call and it'll be an easy sell at that point instead of one that's hard. Okay. Right on. 2 original PPN sites are worth keeping. Okay, let's just check out, see what we got here from Scott. Oops, missed the J. Let's go to Google. Post. Okay, it's indexed. Do a search for this. Indexed and probably not penalized. Yeah, I'd say it's worth keeping. You got Yelp links, Grubhub links. If you don't want to keep it, I'll buy it. Yeah, I just copied that. Sheep Cheese Canada. Let's see about that bad boy. So it looks like it's in German. Oops. So it may be a spelling error, but I don't know. It might not even be German. So, yeah. So it looks like it already dropped, Scott. So you'd have to get that content back up on that one at least. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's penalized, and it looks like it's indexed. So yeah, if you had restaurants or something, that would seem to be pretty reasonable. He's the first 2 I ever bought. Yeah, that first one for sure. The second one looks fine though too. Let me narrow this up a little bit so I can get the edge of the screen. All right, Bridget. I live in a region of a bunch of small cities without a big metro area to anchor it. It's coastal. In addition to rank for the whole Gulf Coast, is it necessary that I set a page for each small town or just pick the biggest ones? I'm not really sure how to deal with this, and I have a potential client that wants to rank in the same region. I want to make sure that I have, that if I have to set up 20 pages for them in order to rank in the area, my internet's not holding up. So, okay, Bridget, if I were in that situation, when I'm in situations like that, right? Rural but populated areas that have towns, nothing huge, but whatever. I'll pick the bigger towns. And then if there are smaller towns around it, not suburbs, but just nearby, I'll just mention those on the page and may even use anchor text. So there's a town called, town I was born in, Windsor, Missouri, right? It's small. It's, I don't know, 2,500 people maybe nowadays. There's another town that's nearby called Leeton, right? Leeton has like 1,500 people. Calhoun maybe has like 9 people, right? But 13 miles away is Clinton. I think Clinton has like 20,000 people. So I would build a page for Clinton, and then on the page for Clinton, also serving Windsor, Calhoun, and Leeton. Okay, so that's how I would approach and how I do approach those situations. If you've got, if you'll take care of people in those areas, especially digital marketing, right? We can take care of people like that. Then that's how I approach that. You don't need a separate town for Calhoun, Windsor, Leeton, but you can mention it. And if you mention it with anchor text, remember UMAC, those are the factors. Anchor counts from a link coming in, but it also helps anchor your page. It gives it some meaning. So an on-page anchor text, it's not going to hurt anything. You can link out to the city page if they had one, or Chamber of Commerce, or their Rotary Club, or whatever, and it'll give you an outbound authority link, and it'll help your page rank for those terms as well. That's how I approach that. Okay, cool. Scott, thank you. Joshua Fletcher, appreciate you have to go now, but I appreciate you. Thank you, Scott. Always good to have you on, man. Aaron, so I had 2 PBNs on different hosting providers and different personas. I accidentally used the same content for both. Was looking through my PBNs and noticed a mistake. Went to check Copyscape, and it was showing that both the PBNs had the same content. I've since then replaced both content articles, but would you say these PBNs are now ruined? No, not at all. They could be completely fine, healthy, never a blip whatsoever. I'd check them, again in a couple weeks, make sure they're both fine. But if you went back, deleted both those articles and all, you should be totally fine, Aaron. I certainly would not let that keep you up at night. In all likelihood, you will not have a problem whatsoever because of that. There, of course, could have been some other thing, but I would not. That's not a serious enough issue to cause that type of problem or worry. Megan, so much great information. Oh, thanks, Megan. Oh, happy Father's Day. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Bryce, curious, when comparing OMG Command Center to Register Compass, I know that Register Compass has more filters and has a different format. Does Register Compass show the same amount of age domains as OMG Command Center? I don't think so, because I think I think he's pulling out some other auctions now in addition to Register Compass, but I'm not sure. It's been a second since I was in OMG Command Center. Would show when setting the same search parameters, stress flow of at least 9. I'd have to look, Bryce. You'll have to go check that out for sure to know. I have a PMA that I'm working on called Diver West. Wanted to know if it looks spam video. Okay, great kind of question. That's kind of a here based on what you know. How does this look? And that opens up the kind of field for. Okay. One thing I do on your sidebar here, mix this up. This is kind of the standard WordPress stuff to have here. Categories like meta. I'd kill that category in your sidebar. I'd kill your archives in your sidebar. You can keep categories and recent posts. Those are fine. Those look appropriate. And search, totally fine. Okay, here's another thing I look for. Single photo near the top of an article tends to be one that is a PBN style. Okay, so mix it up, move it, push it down. Embedded video. Also, most people don't take the time to do that. So a lot of times I'll embed a picture and a video. Okay, so of course I know what I know, right? So we're looking like this one kind of jumps out at me. We got a, looks like NIM agency, it goes to Twitter. This is an entrepreneur article. Customer expectations. See what this is about. Swimming ahead of the competition. Okay, let's see if this is written more businessy or more divery, right? So this is probably some kind of a dive site. For me, yeah, it's hard for me to take that out though. I think this will work just fine. If I were writing this article, which I do write some of my network articles. Okay, Cotton says none of us write our article. I do write. I like writing though. And I certainly don't, like, that's not my standard way to build links. I just, sometimes I come up with ideas for content to write. If I have a diver site, I'll build, here's another thing that sometimes gives away a PBN. Okay. I see posts. Where are my pages? Where's my nav menu? So where's my about? Those are things you can do to dress that up. Is that Bryce maybe? Yeah, Bryce. Okay, so I'd build some static pages so you have some kind of a nav menu here. Okay, I'd delete your archives sorry about that. Your archive section, your meta section out of your side menu. And I do that across the board. Like PBN site, get some static pages on it. Get some posts. The other thing kind of gives away one post, not two, right? But this one, moving in, getting built. So this is kind of the first post. I'd look at more posts. So like, let's see here. So that's the one that came from June. First one. Yeah, okay. More content, static inner pages, delete some sidebar. This article's fine, especially if you've got more content on this site about what in all likelihood is like diving. It could be, you know, like Olympic diving as well. It could be all sorts of other things about diving, but I don't know. But I'm just kind of looking at this from somebody who knows something about SEO. That's a PBN for sure. Changing those things though will help with your potentially your algorithmic, you know, filters, as well as your relevance on that site. It'll help it rank better because it'll have some more content. Okay, cool. Thank you. Did have an about page, but it's not showing. Oh yeah, it may just be your menu settings or something like that. I miss that all the time. I build pages, then I forget to put a menu on the homepage. Joseph, the web page has a relevant schema markup on it. Do you think it's unnecessary to use the money keywords in the text so much? Yeah, money keywords like keyword meta tags, not necessary at all. The only time I'll use that stuff is if I can't work this specific term into content that's showing a visitor, right? If I have some kind of weird synonym or an acronym, right, that stands for the thing I'm trying to do, but I didn't get it in the content at all, then I'll use like meta keywords for that. But otherwise, you don't need it. It's just it's something you can use if you need to, but it's not necessary at all. Irene, thank you, Fletcher, for your insights. Always learning from you. Oh, great. Thank you, Irene. Let's jump over here and see what Quentin's got going on. His dog site. I'm not going to sing Who Let the Dogs Out, no matter how much you want me to. It's not going to happen. Not today. Just being fun. I eat my chicken and dumplings today. Okay, homepage. All right. Some funky formatting here a little bit. I'm not going to worry about that too much, but it's kind of like the media query is a little bit off. with the way this picture's formatting and the line breaks. If that's a CSS issue, let's just go look at the inner pages and see what we've got. Yeah, these look a lot more better. Oh, they kind of do that a little bit too. It's not terrible. Your table break's good. I'm just looking at kind of how this photo here and this block of content, you know, the wider we get, it just keeps stretching. All right, so it's like word wrap turned on. If we go smaller, get this text really small. Yeah, so we have a max width on content, so that's good. But that's the end of it, width-wise. Okay. Talking like on page. Okay, got a disclosure here from affiliate. So it looks like we've got, where do these go? Not a link. Miller's Forge trimmers. So we've got embedded image, non-clickable. Outbound links that look like they're no follow. Inspect. If you guys notice the little red dots around it, I've got a plug-in for a yeah, no follow, no opener. That just means it's a no follow link, right? Just kind of checking out your site and then then I'll dig into some backlinks on it, see what's going on. So it's kind of a hub page, right? We've got a lot of links to other pages on the site. Looks like we got offers on every page. So we got here for pull up Frog over here on the other desktop and let it run in the background. We can have a look at that, and then we'll pull up the gold Ahrefs. Alrighty, so looking close to 500 links. Let's look at our anchors on this thing. I like this. It's a pretty good line. You know, we had drop here, but then climb it again. It's all good. Just in general. So it looks like we've got a big redirect coming in. Designs by Nina. Couple domain redirects. A lot of variation down here. And we're sitting at like 700 page website, looks like, Quentin, give or take. That's just total URLs. So if we're looking at your optimized pages, it looks like we've got about 130, give or take. Okay. Here, let me take a quick pee break, come back, hydrate with water since it's 120 here in Phoenix. I'll be right back real quick. All right, just got back. So we let Screaming Frog run on Quentin's site here, and upper left, I just sorted it by title, right? So we have all the kind of optimized pages at the top. Scroll down and found somewhere around 130 content pages, right? Everything else is resource, photo, link, thumbnail, any of that kind of thing. Okay, so one of the first things I do with Screaming Frog is to kind of move through and check out like page titles, right? So we have page titles on all of our content. We have no duplicates. We have some that are kind of short. We have some that are a little long. Some are kind of short. Some a little wide. Some a little narrow. We are seeing a lot of page titles that are identical to the H1. Okay, actually 85 or so. Okay, that's not necessarily a problem, but it might be something we want to look at changing, especially if you're seeing some links go down. It looks like I'm trying to look at if there's a convention here for it looks like we got good differentiation between what would be the URL slug best nail clippers for your dog, right? We have best nail clippers for your dog here. But then if we go to best cheap dog food, we have review of the top 3 best cheap dog foods, right? We have some differentiation between the URL and the title, right? But what this is telling us is that our titles are identical to our H1s on many pages. And so if you click on these, this is how you use this tool, right? If you click on this bar graph, it actually goes and gets those 84 pages, right? So these are the pages that have that situation. So let's go down here in this lower pane and see. So I clicked on this best nail clippers for your dog, and it's actually 2 layers deep. So best nail clippers for your dog / pet Flowbee for dogs. Okay, so pet Flowbee for dogs is URL slug. Pet Flowbee for dogs is the title. Pet Flowbee for dogs is the H1. We've got a differentiator on the H2 tag. So we've got several prominent, important places that this scenario all lines up. That's kind of a little aggressive on page, right? You don't need that. Considering that's over half of your pages that are similar to this, let's check another one and just see if it's, if the URL slug, the title, and the H1 are all lining up really well. By really well, I mean exactly, not in a good way, right? So can dogs eat ham bones? Is URL slug, can dogs eat ham bones? Title 1, can dogs eat ham bones? H1. And then are bones safe for dogs? Okay, so I would look at these 85 pages, Quentin, and I'd leave your URLs the same because they're the hardest to change. If you change those, you may have links coming to a soft 404 error. Also, any number of things, navigation issues on site, broken links on site, all sorts of that kind of thing. You don't want that. So leave the pages URL the same, and then maybe go through and just add some qualifying words. So can dogs eat ham bones? The title is my neighbor told me dogs can't eat ham bones, exclamation point, like, that kind of stuff. You get it. And then with your H1, are ham bones different than other kinds of bones? Something like that, right? We're still heavy on the kind of bones and food bones, and it's still very topical, you can see, but it's not identical. So it's a little like what we saw with the aggressive optimization on page from, I think it was Scott that had the site that was the Ovieta, like air conditioning repair or something like that, if I recall. It's just a little aggressive. I think you can back off of this and open it up more. And what that'll do by backing off of these prominent features with your title and your H1, you can come in if you're, so like, if we looked at this, can dogs eat ham bones? Okay, so let's look at that. I'm going to look at that term. I did a copy. I'm just going to go over to browser here, okay, and use just this. What's SERP? I think is what it's called. Just a free SERP checker. It's not always right, but that's not the point. So this is a keyword. I'm going to paste that, get rid of the question mark. The domain name is this Dogs by Nina. Copy this. Go over here. I'm going to put the domain name in. I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to just let this run and see what I'm ranked for. Can dogs eat ham bones? Okay. So we're ranked 2, right? So good. Definitely good. So let's go. Oh, sorry, I was in here. I actually want to grab this now. Copy that. This is the URL I'm grabbing. And I'm going to run links to this, okay? And I don't want the whole domain. I want the exact URL. Do a search. Okay, and then I want to go look at the backlinks to this page. I only have one referring domain. That's really this one link coming in here. Okay, dogs and ham bones, very relevant, very good, right? And it's it's an image link. Okay. Okay, cool, and which turns into be a no follow. So by de-optimizing this specific page, and don't, if you're number 2, you're going to get a ton of traffic. You're going to make a ton of money. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing compares to being number 1. It's just not even on the same planet, right? There's a ton of traffic. You're going to get a ton of opportunity, especially if you convert well and all this kind of thing. But I would rather have the most opportunity. And number 1 gets the most opportunity. So I would de-optimize that page. You're not going to drop rankings by de-optimizing some of those features. And I would send, not that this page is your main money keyword, right? I don't know how you'd monetize that necessarily, unless it was some kind of digestive health, thing, which I got dogs and I, buy stuff all the time for that kind of thing. But by going through and figuring out what you rank for like this and seeing where you're number 4, number 8, and de-optimizing those pages and then sending 2 or 3 links to each of those pages, spend 40, 50 bucks on new links, go to those pages, you're going to go grab those terms that you're just out of the pocket for and be able to push them up without having an optimization issue. If you were to send a dogs and ham bones link to a page like this with that really aggressive optimization, you could run into some trouble if you sent 2 links like that, 3 links. Right? I'm not saying you will, because it's a big site and you've got nearly 500 links. But if you did that on a lot of different pages, it's just not the best. You don't need to do that. I'd de-optimize the page and then send some solid anchor text in. And again, I'm not talking about this page specifically, but this just so happened to be one that illustrated what I'd do, how I'd approach that. Great question though, Quentin. Thanks for bringing that on, bud. That was a good opportunity to use some of these other tools that we have at our disposal to diagnose what's going on. Cool, man. Yeah. If it helps, I don't think that I have any hidden PB. Oh, good. 120-ish pages. Just notice spam is I saw some foreign characters in there as well, Quentin. Looks like it's coming from Designs by Nina. Redirect. You think I might want to undo that? Both sites used and owned by the same owner, so I was excited to grab both brands. I'd probably leave it it didn't look, you know, a few links like that's not going to hurt you. I think I'd come in with some good links. Yeah. Into pages, you know, flea medicine, I know, is a big term, and one you can sell well. Pain medication for dogs is a page you might want to go after. You've got a lot with diet, so I'm kind of looking that direction. And nail clippers looks like it's a pretty heavy term you're going after. You might want to think about adding some content. I'm looking at pages, and I could be over assessing how much I can see from just no longer than I've looked at your site. You've got a lot of sub pages. So you've got, oh, I guess I don't know why I'm doing this. Okay. So I'm doing here, I'm still on the page, the duplicate page titles filter. And so I'm just looking at your file structure, right? So we have best nail clippers for your dog. And then as a sub page to that, best flea medicine for your dog. And then as a sub page to that, Fremicide, right? This might not be, I don't know how your links flow. So let's see. So this Fremicide here, which is a flea medication, which has nothing to do with nail clippers, right? I'm going to see what this links out to. So I have this page highlighted. I'm going to do an outlink. I'm going to see how many pages or what pages this links out to. So it links back up 2 levels to nail clippers page, to German Shepherd training, cheap dog food. So it's a page that really links around to itself really well. With that being the case, there isn't a reason to be this deep. So if you build more content, I'm not saying to change this necessarily, because it can be a lot of work to change folder structure, file structure on a site like this. But you definitely don't need to be 4 pages deep for these different medications. Maybe 2. You got Dogs by Nina / best flea medicine for dogs / famotidine or diphenylhydramine or clindamycin. I like reading all these names. It's kind of fun. 4 and 5 syllables. But I think you probably maybe get what I'm kind of talking about there, Quentin. And that one just jumped out at me just while I was in this filter. I was kind of hopping around. But I kind of look at this. If the pages are nested under appropriate pages, and it looks like maybe the flea medication and the nail clippers are not set up that well. Best dog crates for a pet with sensible taste. Maybe doesn't need to be under that nail clippers page. Looks like maybe the best nail clippers for your dogs is possibly a category, and you have it as a default. And so all these articles wound up being there, possibly. Here's one too that doesn't add up quite, right? You've got German Shepherd training / training tips for your American Bulldog. Couple things that I just, if this is a good money site, it's bringing you money, it's worth paying attention to some of that stuff. It just, not that you need to necessarily, but if you've got something like that, it's worth going back and checking out. Because some of those things just unlock these weird little nuances in the algorithm every once in a while. They're never going to show up. And never something that is worth talking about. But you might see a pretty, distinct difference once you do that. Like I know I've worked on sites and I did little things like that. And, we wound up doubling traffic over, a month or two. And doubling traffic is a ton on a local site. That could mean, 5-10 extra jobs a month. You're buying a friggin' Corvette every 6 months. It can be quite a bit to unlock things like that. Okay, cool. Jody, looking for the strategy outline that must be followed every time. I tend to skip steps because I'm so eager to get to the finish line. I just need a topic strategy. Yeah, Jody, that's this is a little bit old in the update here. Still may be the most recent, but I figured. One of the things I've done a little bit with the Project Orlando was I laid out a strategy that works, a sequence that works. It doesn't mean you have to follow it, but sometimes following something that works, it lets you see where you can start to, kind of riff on a structure that works. If anybody knows music at all, you do something somebody else has come up with that gets you there enough times that you can start to play around with some of the other ideas. Project Orlando was set up that way. And then if you look at it and from how do I come up with kind of a business idea that works? That's more of what it was about. And if you go then with like the treasure map, the new treasure map series with Joe and Greg, you can look at the technical details of what to do with setting a site up. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So let me go just grab my rid of the screen share. I'm back. That'll give you the technical side of optimizing a website and getting your anchor text and link strategy put in place. That doesn't mean that's the rule to follow. But until you've done that and ranked some sites and built some sites, it's a good way to start. It will get you the experience you need, the hands-on experience you need that let you see what things you might be able to kind of play with and what things you probably just need to leave a way that works. Until something's broke, don't go fixing it. You're going to get further behind if you do that. So anyway, that's what we got today. Hopefully things were good for everybody on. I'm 2 hours, 15 minutes. Shoot. Yeah, a little bit long today. But this sort of format where I still try to answer questions, but am willing and more able to open the tools to talk about this is what I do, but also like the why and what I see when I look at like a PBN site. Does this look spammy? Does this look like a PBN site? What do you see when you get on this page, right? The first thing that comes to mind, oh, it looks great. We kind of go through, I might change that. Oh, wait, you don't have, there were no outbound links on any of the content pages. That's something I would address. You don't always get that when you just glance at something. And that general meta strategy, right? I talked about that more. I want to develop that more as something I do and help understand and developed. But you don't need to rush through like Jody's, comment. Like I want to get there, and I find myself kind of jumping over steps. You don't know what steps you can kind of cut short and not have to pay as much attention to until you built like 10 or 15. Like one of the things I know that I benefited from was building, 40, 50 sites in a very short period of time. I got to know where all the buttons were in WordPress. I got to know where the update button was for the SEO plugins that we used. I was really limited by how fast my internet worked, and I was working at Starbucks and it wasn't very fast. Like that was how quick I was just clicking around and doing stuff. And that was good, but it wasn't good because it made me money. It got me that first, paycheck. That was nice. But what was good about it was, okay, I got WordPress now. Now I know how to use WordPress as a user. Okay, next. Like what's next? I got to figure out links. Okay, well, I got 50 sites I can send links to. Okay, well, if part of them work, I'm good. I'm better off. Those sites that I built that were making money, as they send more links, they're going to make more money. And the ones that didn't do as well with the links I sent, I'm going to understand why. I'm going to be able to know what I did that didn't work, what I need to pay more attention to. And so that's kind of where I got like the practice thing. It is a strategy that almost always works if you know what you're looking for. So the combination of the training that we have in OMG, right? The principles that work, UMAC those are the things you need to optimize. Okay, well now what percentage? All right, now let's check out the algorithm, right? That in conjunction with building it, getting the experience yourself is what let you do this really with a lot of calmness and assurance and confidence. And whether you're just doing this on your own as, mostly affiliate marketing, and it lets you sleep well at night and know that your sites are ranking and making money, or whether you need to go out and talk to someone else client-wise and convey that sense of confidence to them because you know what you're doing and you've seen it work. You're not having to sell based on my confidence or based on Cotton's confidence. It's there and you can draw on that type of thing, but you don't have to rely on it as the only thing. You built a site and ranked it. Okay, and even better, I know I built 15 sites and ranked them all. Yeah, I can rank your site. If you don't have clients, go build and rank your own sites. It's the easiest way to build the confidence that helps sell. It's not what you have to have. It's not what you have to rely on. But if you have the confidence, it's going to come through in almost all your communication. You don't have to be, a dick about any of it, but it does let you be not as aggressive, but still very competent. Anyway, guys, I'll wrap up because I got 3 kids at home that I want to go see and hang out with some more. And whoa, got my exercise ball rolling away from me here. I think we're good. Yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being on today. And yeah, I appreciate everybody who takes time out of their day to jump on these office hours. I really try to give as much as I can to help you out. And if there are some things that feel like I need to maybe pay more attention to or do in a different manner, I'd love to hear it, because sometimes I really try to remember what it's like when you're starting out or when you're trying to get to that next level. And the thing you might be looking at as the insurmountable obstacle is all you can see, but the answer really is over here. I'm really trying to make sure that gets bridged properly. A lot of times it's not, I don't have enough SEO knowledge and I don't have enough SEO experience. And that's one of the big things I'm really trying to help instill the importance of. If you've got the experience and the knowledge, you've already won. It's just a matter of playing out the hands. So yeah, you guys take care. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Cursor, where is it?